The strongest god of war in the heavenly realm, Ye Tian, maintained stability in the heavenly realm for 100 years. However, on the day of his triumphant return, he was tricked by his father, Emperor Ye Tian, and his body disappeared from the path. He ended up drinking a grudge. However, he benefited from misfortune and brought the demon god's legacy to resurrect himself, reborn in the mortal youth. In this life, the demon god is passed down in his hands, and he will surely kill back to the heavenly realm and blood wash the cloud temple. Chapter 1. Rebirth of the God of War. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xia Kingdom. Luoyang City. The Ye Family Mansion. The white silk hanging high in the mansion is piled with funeral wreaths. A black wooden coffin is placed in the center of the mansion. A young man of the Sword Brow Star Order was lying peacefully in the coffin. I, Ye Tian, have been reborn. The young man suddenly opened his eyes, filled with flames of hatred. Ye Tian, the son of Emperor Ye Tian. His talent is unparalleled in the world. Born with the body of the god of war. Awakening divine-level martial souls from a young age. To maintain stability in the heavenly realm, he fought in the demon realm for 100 years and slaughtered trillions of demons. He made supreme military achievements and was conferred the title of Immortal Martial God of War. However, on the day he returns to the heavenly realm to receive the reward, his God of War body and divine-level martial soul were taken away by his biological father, Emperor Ye Tian. His half-brother Ye Tian was even more in front of him. Transplant his God of War body. Integrate his martial soul. Obtain a more unparalleled talent than him. And he. Betrayal and estrangement. The body disappears and the path falls. Ending with a grudge. Fortunately, a strand of his remaining soul escaped from the mortal world and coincidentally fell into the mortal world, becoming possessed by this mortal youth. Through the memory of this young man, Ye Tian learned of his identity. He has the same name and surname as Ye Tian, and is the young master of the Ye family in Luoyang City. His talent is outstanding. At the age of 10, I set foot on the martial arts path. In just 5 years, I have reached the 9th level of physical cultivation. However, he ruined his future because of his fiancée A.E. 3 years ago. Fiancé A.E. Jiang Biao went out to play and unfortunately was attacked by a monster. To save Jiang Biao, he fought to the death and almost died. In the end, although rescued, the foundation was damaged. Retreat cultivation to 6 levels of body refining. The cultivation speed is not as fast as before. From genius to waste. Okay. The matter is not over yet. Jiang Biao has a younger brother named Jiang Biki. Although this child has good talent, he does not cultivate well. Spending the whole day indulging in extravagance, indulging in food, drink, prostitution, and gambling everywhere. In the following 3 years, Jiang Biao made unlimited demands from her younger brother to support her. Squeeze and suck out his cultivation resources. Anyway, you're all a waste. Giving you resources is also a waste. It's better to give them to my brother. If you don't want to give for me, you just don't love me. This is exactly the catchphrase that Jiang Biao often talks about. To maintain this relationship, he could only let Jiang Biao take it. Devote one's cultivation resources selflessly. It is precisely because of this that his cultivation has stagnated over the past 3 years. So much so that it is ridiculed by people as waste. However, the matter is still unfinished. Just 3 days ago, Jiang Biki is obsessed with ghosts and has defiled the daughter of the Lin family in Zhongzhou, causing a huge disaster. To save her younger brother Jiang Biki, Jiang Biao stirred up trouble and hung herself, forcing him to take the blame. I'm just such a little brother, are you so cold-blooded and ruthless, can you bear to watch him die? If you don't agree to me, I'll die and show you. This is exactly what Jiang Biao said to him at that time. using death as a threat. Fearing that Jiang Biao might have a short sighting, he softened his heart and agreed to take the blame without consulting with his family. Finally executed by the Lin family. That's why. As the god of war in the heavenly realm, Ye Yun can only be resurrected by borrowing a corpse and attaching himself to him. The infatuated mortal youth, you can go with peace of mind. If I take possession of your body, I will seek justice for you. Ye Yun promised to the original owner of his body in his heart, from now on, we are inseparable from each other. Your family is also my family. Your enemy is my enemy. If the world treats you unfairly, I will level this world and create a fair world. If the heavenly court is not just, I will overthrow it and create my own heaven. Just as Ye Yun was about to get up, he found that his body had all 5 internal organs shattered and his meridians destroyed. Ye Yun immediately retrieved a set of healing techniques from his memory and began to operate within his body. This healing technique was learned by him in the heavenly realm. Even if seriously injured or on the brink of death, it can be quickly cured. Soon. Ye Yun felt that his injuries were rapidly recovering. During the treatment process, Ye Yun discovered a cube buried inside his body. That is exactly the demon god crystallization he obtained after going through a life of 9 deaths in the forbidden area of the demon world. Legend has it that the crystal of the demon god is the supreme divine object left behind after the fall of the demon god in the wilderness. Possessing the vast power of a demon god. Tens of thousands of years ago, it broke through the void and descended from the sky. Its appearance once triggered a war between gods and demons, causing countless venerable beings to plunder it crazily. Rumor has it that its owner will become the eternal ruler. After obtaining the demon god crystal, Ye Yun originally intended to offer it to Emperor Ye Tian. But who knew that as soon as he returned to the heavenly realm, he was tricked by Emperor Ye. So he changed his mind at the last minute and destroyed the demon crystal before he died. What he didn't expect was that the demon crystal not only wasn't destroyed, but also was reborn with him. And it also integrated with him, becoming a part of his dantian. Is all of this a coincidence or fate? Ye Yun is not sure, but since he has lived a lifetime, he will definitely seek revenge for himself. Emperor Yi, wait for me. In the near future, I will surely return to the heavenly realm and wash the cloud sky temple with blood. Ye Yun spoke boldly, his whole body overflowing with killing energy, as if solidified into a sharp sword, as if about to split the sky open. And at this moment, "Uncle, we mourn deeply." A cold female voice came in. Ye Yun couldn't help but frown. This is exactly the voice belonging to Jiang Biao in the original owner's memory. "What are you doing here?" An angry voice followed. This is the voice belonging to the father Yi Wuya in the original owner's memory. Yi Wuya knows the truth about Zai Yian's death, so she hates Jiang Biao to the bone. "I want to come and see Brother Yun, after all, we have truly loved each other." Jiang Biao deliberately wiped her tears and tried to pretend to be sad. "You're not welcome here, get out of here." Yi Wuya shouted coldly. "Since my uncle doesn't want to see me, I'll leave immediately." Jiang Biao sighed and then went straight to the topic, saying, "However, before I leave, please ask my uncle to keep his promise and give me the promised dowry." "The dowry?" Yi Wuya was stunned and didn't react. Jiang Biao nodded and said, "Brother Yun once promised me to give the Yi family's spiritual mining land deed as a dowry to me." Upon hearing Jiang Biao's words, all the members of the Yi family present were shocked and their eyes widened. My eyes were filled with disbelief. They never expected that there would be such shameless people in the world. Ye Yun took the blame for her brother and died, but she didn't feel any guilt at all. Unexpectedly, on the day when Ye Yun's bones were not yet cold, he came to ask for a dowry. This is simply shameless to a certain level. My son died for you, and now that his bones are still cold, you still have the face to come and ask for a dowry. Yi Wuya stared at Jiang Biao. The pain of losing a son in middle age can no longer be suppressed. The spiritual mining land deed of the Ye family is the main industry of the Ye family. Related to the rise and fall of the Ye family, it is the lifeline of the family. When the Jiang family proposed to the Ye family to use the Linquang land deed as a dowry, he is very resistant inside. If it weren't for owing Ye Yun, he would never have agreed to this request. And now that even Ye Yun is dead, how could he still agree to this request? And even if Ye Yun dies, the engagement will automatically become invalid, so there is no such thing as a dowry. Give me the land deed of the Ling mine, it's brother Yun's last wish. Could it be that you don't even want to fulfill his last wish? Jiang Biao said with a feigned sadness. A last wish. Ye Wuya looked at Jiang Biao with disgust and said, my son has given everything for you, and now he is dying for you. Not only did you not feel guilty, but you also used his last wish to continue demanding from us. Do you deserve his efforts? Jiang Biao tore off her disguise and said rudely, Uncle, what you said is too much. How could you say that? I admit that he has given a lot for me, but that was all voluntary. I didn't force him. He volunteered to pay for me, and he also volunteered to take responsibility for my brother. So why do I feel guilty when he was executed by the Lin family? You. Upon hearing these ungrateful words, Ye Wuya was so angry that her eyes were filled with smoke. However, this is not over yet. Chapter 2. Fudi Mo's fiancé A.E. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jiang Biao continued shamelessly, moreover, his previous efforts not only failed to truly help my younger brother, but also spoiled him. My younger brother used to occasionally practice, but now he spends his days in drunkenness and dreams, not seeing him practice a few times in a whole month. If it weren't for his support, my younger brother wouldn't be so lazy. If it weren't for my younger brother handling the aftermath every time he causes trouble, he wouldn't have become more and more bold, let alone defile the daughter of the Ye family. All of this is thanks to him. So he should go and take responsibility for my brother. He was executed by the Lin family, and we can only blame him for taking the blame on himself. At the end, Jiang Biao was extremely emotional. The voice was filled with anger. Full of the intention of blaming Ye Yun. It's like all of this is really Ye Yun's fault. Upon hearing these refreshing words, everyone in the Ye family was shocked. One by one, they were so angry that their whole bodies were trembling. They never even dreamed that there were people in the world with such distorted values. The selfless efforts of others not only did not receive any gratitude from her, but they also had to be blamed by her like this. This is simply despicable. What are you saying, Jiang? Ye Wuya pointed at Jiang Biao, her fingers trembling constantly. Am I wrong about what I said? Isn't it because he's trapped himself in a cocoon? Jiang Biao didn't feel any problem with her words at all. She said shamelessly, although he harmed my brother, after all, he has already died, and I will not hold him accountable. As long as you return what belongs to me, that's all for this matter. You ungrateful thing. Ye Wuya's veins burst out on her forehead. The clenched fists were so strong that even the nails were embedded in the flesh. What belongs to her? Will not hold accountable. Is that all for now? Jiang Biao's astonishing remarks almost made him vomit blood in anger. He couldn't believe that someone could be so shameless. Get out of here. Don't let me see you again. Otherwise, I'll kill you. Everyone in the Ye family started cursing loudly, and their fingers holding knives turned pale. Kill me. Ha. Jiang Biao's mouth curved upwards, outlining a hint of playfulness. Do you know what identity I am now? Listen up. Now I am the first family in Zhongzhou, the quasi-young lady of Xiao Yan, the young master of the Xiao family. Brother Xiao Yan has promised me that he will marry me once he returns from the sect. The matter of my marriage alliance with him is already confirmed. Do you dare to move me and give it a try? What are you saying? You You're already married to the Xiao family, the Ye family asked incredulously. They feel that their values have been completely overturned by this woman. In their original understanding, Jiang Biao's initial behavior was already shameless enough. But they never expected that Jiang Biao would have even more shameless behavior. Nowadays, Jiang Biao can no longer be described as shameless. Everyone couldn't even think of what kind of derogatory words to use to describe the woman in front of them. However, Jiang Biao was not ashamed and instead proudly said, "That's right, please call me Lady Xiao from now on." You. Ye Wuya's eyes were about to crack, staring fiercely at Jiang Biao. He never imagined that such a despicable and shameless woman would be his former daughter-in-law. Before her own son was even buried, she identified herself as someone else's wife. Even shamelessly came to ask for a dowry. Why haven't these people been punished by heaven? I advise you to be honest and return my spiritual mine land deed to me, otherwise I will let the Xiao family take care of you. Jiang Biao mocked at the corners of her mouth. She looked at the Ye family with contempt and pride in her eyes. Puff. A series of blows made Ye Wuya's blood rush through her heart, and she spewed out a mouthful of blood. He covered his chest and fell to the ground, trembling as he pointed at Jiang Biao, "Animal. You're not even as good as an animal." Jiang Biao waved her hand and interrupted Ye Wuya impatiently, saying, "All right, stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and hand over the spiritual mining land deed. My younger brother is currently in the Ningyuan realm and waiting to use those resources. If it delays his cultivation, can you bear this responsibility? If you want the land deed of my Ye family's spiritual mine, you can't imagine it." Ye Wuya roared hysterically, disregarding the blood in his mouth. Jiang Biao raised her chin and said arrogantly, "Now I'll give you two choices. Either hand over the land deed of the spiritual mine, or I will have all members of the Ye family go to bury your son." Bang! With a loud bang, the coffin suddenly exploded. Everyone turned around to look at the sound. Ye Yun, dressed in a shroud, suddenly bounced out of the coffin and landed not far in front of it. Ye Yun. The first reaction of everyone was that they thought it was Ye Yun pretending to be a corpse, and they were all scared and cold all over. Without paying attention to everyone's reaction, Ye Yun walked directly towards the middle-aged man with graying temples and a face full of vicissitudes. That is the father of his original owner, Ye Wuya. Yun. Yunner. Ye Wuya looked at Ye Yun with tears in her eyes, filled with disbelief. "Dad, it's me, I'm still alive." Ye Yun walked up to Ye Wuya and helped him up from the ground. In the memory of the original owner of the body, he had never seen his mother since childhood. It was this haggard father who worked hard to pull him up. It is precisely because his mother left early that his father has always felt indebted to him, which is why he is particularly affectionate towards him. From childhood to adulthood, whenever it was his request, his father would do his best to fulfill it. Even when he promised Jiang Biao to use the Linghuang land deed as a dowry, his father could only accommodate his agreement. It is evident to what extent this father dotes on him. Still alive. Yunner, you're really still alive. Ye Wuya reached out and caressed Ye Yun's cheek, tears streaming from her eyes. Subsequently, Ye Wuya embraced Ye Yun into her arms, and the two father and son embraced each other tightly. At this moment, Ye Wuya, who is over 40 years old, cried like a child. "Dad!" Ye Yun also held Ye Wuya tightly, enjoying this fatherly care. This is the fatherly love he had always longed for but never received when he was in the heavenly realm. It is precisely because of longing that he cannot obtain it that he cherishes this familial bond even more. At this moment, he truly wants to protect this middle-aged man, guarding this hard-earned family bond. He even had the illusion that he was Ye Yun from the mortal world. It's Ye Wuya's biological son. Ah! Brother Yun, it's really great that you didn't die. They are so worried about you. Jiang Biao's coquettish voice suddenly sounded out of place. breaking the reunion between father and son. Ye Yun released Ye Wuya and turned his head to look at Jiang Biao. That is a woman wearing a green dress. She was wearing vermilion rouge and had slender willow eyebrows. Although she has a beautiful appearance, her face is somewhat harsh. At first glance, she looks like a selfish and malicious woman. Brother Yun, since you haven't died, then quickly fulfill your promise and give me the promised dowry. My younger brother can't wait any longer. Jiang Biao's harsh face was full of nauseating greedy smiles. In her eyes, Ye Yun's life and death were not important at all. What she cares about is only the spiritual mining land deed. Ye Yun frowned slightly, showing a disgusted expression, and then slowly turned around. Yunner. Ye Wuya quickly grabbed Ye Yun. He was obviously afraid that Ye Yun would be stubborn and still foolish enough to pay for Jiang Biao like before. After all, Ye Yun can even spare his own life for the sake of Jiang Biao. Don't worry, Dad. I know how to handle it. Ye Yun nodded to Ye Wuya and then walked step by step towards Jiang Biao. Chapter 3. 3 Claps. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jiang Biao didn't seem to notice the disgusted expression on Ye Yun's face and the murderous pace. She turned to the villain and first reported, Brother Yun, fortunately you haven't died yet. Otherwise, you won't be able to see how outrageous your immortal father was just now. Although he had promised to use the Ling Mine land contract as a dowry, now he's not keeping his word. He even cursed me as an ungrateful person, cursing me for not being even a beast. Now you must make him kneel down and apologize to me, otherwise you will never see me again. Pop. Jiang Biao's words are not finished yet. Ye Yun had already walked up to her and slapped her in the face. This powerful and heavy slap directly knocked Jiang Biao to the ground. At this moment, everyone was instantly stunned. Everyone looked at Ye Yun incredulously. Even Ye Wuya's face was full of disbelief. They never expected that Ye Yun would be willing to beat Jiang Biao. Is this still the Ye Yun who spoils his wife like fate? Ye Yun. You. How dare you hit me? Jiang Biao was blinded. She held her face and looked at Ye Yun incredulously. She never even dreamed that Ye Yun would be willing to hit her. You should know that in the past, Ye Yun treated her like a queen. She made Ye Yun kneel, but Ye Yun never dared to stand. It can be said that it is obedient and obedient. And now, Ye Yun actually started hitting him. And even in front of everyone in the Ye family, he mercilessly slapped her in the face. Still hitting so hard, so hard. The huge difference before and after this is completely unacceptable to her. First slap, fight for me, fight you for disloyalty. Ye Yun looked at Jiang Biao with disgust and said in an extremely cold tone. The second slap, for my father's sake, hitting you is unfilial. After finishing speaking, Ye Yun raised his hand again and slapped Jiang Biao in the face. Pop. The force of this slap is slightly greater than just now. Directly fan Jiang Biao up, hover in mid-air for several laps, and then another dog eats shit and falls to the ground. Cough. Jiang Biao coughed violently twice and coughed up a large amount of blood from her mouth. Among them, there are also 2 blood-stained front teeth mixed in. Seeing my fallen front teeth, feeling the wind leaking from my mouth. Jiang Biao immediately remembered her ugly appearance after missing teeth. She stared at Ye Yun with cracked eyes and roared hysterically like a madman, Ye. You dare to ruin my appearance. I will never let you go. I want you to die. I want your whole family to die. I want you. Before he could finish speaking, Ye Yun slapped again. This slap is for the sake of heaven and earth, hitting you is unjust and unjust. The force of this slap is the sum of the first 2 slaps. Jiang Biao was slapped directly and flew 7 or 8 meters away. I even broke a pillar. The strength of Ye Yun is evident. Nausea. A large amount of blood spat out from Jiang Biao's mouth, mixed with several stained teeth. This extremely refreshing scene made everyone in the Ye family boil with excitement. I wish I could rush up and slap myself a few times. Jiang Biao's previous arrogant and domineering attitude had already made them furious. Now seeing Jiang Biao in such a disheveled state, beaten to the ground and looking for teeth, they all feel extremely happy all over. Okay. However, Ye Yun did not stop there. He walked towards Jiang Biao with a fierce aura, his eyes filled with an indescribable killing intent. The mortal woman in front of me has already portrayed disloyalty, unfilial piety, and injustice to the extreme. Such a woman makes it hard for him to bear the murderous intent in his heart. Upon hearing footsteps approaching her, Jiang Biao looked up in fear. At this moment, her gaze towards Ye Yun was filled with unprecedented fear. Because she had realized that the Ye Yun in front of her was no longer the same as before. It's no longer the man who allows her to beat and scold, or let her manipulate him at will. Because in the past, Ye Yun would never have possessed such a strong killing aura. Kneel down. Ye Yun let out a cold drink. The power of the god of war. Overlord side leakage. Go straight to the soul. Jiang Biao was intimidated by this momentum. My legs involuntarily bent and knelt down. Kneeling in front of Ye Yun in front of all the members of the Ye family. You. What else does Jiang Biao want to say? But Ye Yun has grown tired of hearing her voice again. Step directly on her face. Crush her face mercilessly to the ground. Woo-woo. Woo-woo. Jiang Biao struggled desperately. But no matter how hard she struggled, she was like a tiny ant, unable to break free from Ye Yun's feet. Seeing this scene, everyone in the Ye family was once again shocked. In their impression, Ye Yun was like a lowly dog in front of Jiang Biao, afraid to go from east to west. But now Ye Yun possesses an imperial aura. Is this really the same Ye Yun? You disloyal, unfilial, and unjust woman. Also fitting into my Ye family's door. Did you also come to my Ye family to ask for a dowry? At this moment, Ye Yun is like a supreme deity, looking down at the ants at his feet from a high position. It used to be my obsession that allowed you to be so reckless. Now, I won't tolerate you for half a minute anymore. Dare to threaten my father and apologize with death. After Ye Yun finished speaking, he exerted his strength under his feet. Click. Accompanied by a crisp voice, Jiang Biao's cheeks instantly collapsed. Half of my face sank into the soil. Just as Ye Yun planned to increase his efforts and completely end the life of the woman under his feet. Stop it. A roar suddenly came. Subsequently, a palm fell from the sky and struck directly at Ye Yun's forehead. Chapter 4. Jiang Family declares war. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ye Yun quickly withdrew and retreated, avoiding the palm in time, and then looked towards the visitor. The newcomer is a middle-aged man dressed in a gorgeous brocade robe, exuding elegance and grandeur. He is the father of Jiang Biao, Jiang Dehai. Daughter. After Jiang Dehai's palm fell, he did not choose to pursue. But instead, he landed beside Jiang Biao and picked her up. Jiang Biao cried to Jiang Dehai, Dad. I've been bullied so badly. You have to make decisions for me. I want to dismember Ye Yun into countless pieces, and I want to slaughter the entire Ye family. Jiang Dehai stared at Ye Yun with round eyes and said, Ye Yun, how dare you treat my daughter like this? I want you to die without a place to bury yourself. Jiang Dehai, today with me, Yi Wuya, you can't even touch Yun'er's hair. Yi Wuya quickly blocked in front of Ye Yun. He knew that Jiang Dehai had the 6th cultivation level of Ningyuan, which was not something Ye Yun in the refining realm could handle. Jiang Dehai looked disdainfully at Yi Wuya and said, Yi Wuya, just relying on you as a useless person, are you still trying to stop me? A useless person. Ye Yun frowned in confusion. In the original owner's memory, Yi Wuya was a master of Ningyuan Luchong. Why is there such a thing as useless people? Seeing Yi Yun's reaction, Jiang Dahai joked, "What's going on? Yi Wuya. I haven't told your son yet, your dantian is now shattered. Are you a complete waste?" "What?" Yi Yun looked at Yi Wuya in shock. "At the same time, release your divine consciousness and explore Yi Wuya's body." Just now, Yi Yun was only focused on teaching Jiang Biao a lesson. "I didn't even notice my father's physical condition." Now, after detection, he was shocked to discover. "My father's dantian is truly shattered. There is no cultivation aura on my body. Dad. What's going on?" Yi Yun quickly asked Yi Wuya. At this moment, he suddenly realized. No wonder Jiang Biao was so reckless before, even her father could hold back from taking action. "Originally, my father had already lost his cultivation." Upon hearing Yi Yun's question, Yi Wuya did not answer. He just clenched his fists and shook his head unwillingly, sighing. Jiang Dahai laughed happily and said, "After the Lin family executed you, they had planned to chop you up and feed you to the dog, so that you would die without a whole body. Your father, in order to redeem your body, spared no expense in scattering all his family wealth and even took the 3 palms of the Lin family head. It was the 3 palms of the Lin family leader that shattered your father's elixir field. Let him destroy all his meridians and become a complete useless person." Upon hearing Jiang Dahai's explanation, Yi Yun was deeply moved. In his original physical memory, he had multiple arguments with his father to fight for a dowry for Jiang Biao. "Even speaking disrespectfully to my father." "Okay. Even so. My father is still loyal to him. Even though he has already passed away. My father is also willing to use his own cultivation and all the resources of the family to redeem his body. It can be seen from this father's love for him. How selfless. How great. Although this fatherly love is not for him, but for the original owner of his body. But it still made him feel incredibly warm. Yi Yun, your father can no longer protect you. You kneel down to beg for mercy now, and I will consider keeping you a whole body," Jiang Dahai said recklessly. "Jiang, do you really think there is no one in my Yi family? Although the head of the family has lost his cultivation, there are still us elders present. How can we allow you to be reckless in the Yi family?" The elders of the Yi family stepped forward and protected Yi Yun and his son behind them. "And we too. Under the leadership of Elder Yi." The younger generation of the Yi family also stepped forward one after another. For a while, the entire Yi family united as one. No matter how our daily relationships are. At this point, all the spearheads will be aligned with the outside world. The scene of unity once again made Yi Yun feel warm in his heart. This is my family. This is the family. This is the familial bond where blood is thicker than water. Second, third, you. Seeing everyone stand up for themselves. Yi Wuya, whose joy and anger were not reflected in her face, now had a touch on her face. As the head of the Yi family, he excessively favors Yi Yun. Many people in the tribe are dissatisfied with him. So over the years, the Yi family has not been very united. It can even be said that it's a pile of scattered sand. When he decided to use his family resources to redeem Yi Yun's body, his relationship with his tribe became increasingly strained. But even so, when he encountered a crisis, the people of his tribe stood up at the first time without hesitation. "Big brother, there's no need to say anything. Although we have some conflicts, we are always one family." A middle-aged man with a face full of fat and a sturdy physique said. He is the eldest elder of the Yi family. He is also Yi Wuya's second younger brother and Yi Yun's second uncle, Yi Wudao. After all, blood is thicker than water. No matter what conflicts they have, As long as they are invaded by foreign enemies, they will unite as one in the first place. This is the true family. Are you sure you want to go against my Jiang family for this useless father and son? Jiang Dahai threatened with a gloomy expression on his face. The Ye family and the Jiang family are both the four major families in Luoyang City. But the overall strength of the Ye family is weaker than that of the Jiang family. Whether it's a Ningyuan realm warrior or a refining body realm warrior, the quantity of the Jiang family is superior to that of the Ye family. And now, the top combat power of the Ye family, Ye Wuya, was abolished. This makes it even more difficult for the Ye family to compete with the Jiang family. Okay. Even so, Elder Ye still maintains a tough attitude. Stop talking nonsense and fight if you want. Okay. This is what you brought for yourself. After Jiang Dahai finished speaking, he took out a bamboo tube and threw it towards the sky. The bamboo tube exploded at high altitude, forming a brilliant fireworks display. This is exactly the signal he sent to his tribe. It won't take long. The numerous members of the Jiang family rushed to the scene in a fierce manner. Not only that, a large number of onlookers also gathered along. Listen up, from this moment on, our Jiang family will officially declare war on the Ye family. Jiang Dahai announced to the Jiang family. Declare war on the Ye family. Are you sure? Accompanied by an old voice. A white-haired old man descended from the sky and landed in front of the river and sea. This old man with white hair, although he is already in his rare years. But he was full of energy and did not show any signs of aging. Pay respects to the Supreme Elder. Seeing this old man with white hair, everyone in the Ye family bowed and saluted together. This person is the elder of the Ye family. Ye Yun's grandfather. Ye Tian. 10 years ago. After passing on the position of the head of the family to Ye Wuya, he has been locked down. Since then, no one has seen it. So much so that many people speculate that he has passed away. But who would have thought that he would pass at this moment? Ye Tianlong glanced at Jiang Dahai and said, Jiang family child, haven't seen you for many years, you have become even more arrogant. When your father was still alive, he dared not be so arrogant in front of me. In conversation, a turbulent aura erupted from Ye Tianlong. In an instant, strong winds were blowing around, and sand and stones were flying on the ground. Ningyuan Chichong. Feeling the breath of Ye Tianlong, Jiang Dahai's face became solemn. He still remembers it clearly to this day. Before seclusion, Ye Tianlong only had the 6th peak cultivation of Ningyuan. And now, surprisingly, it has broken through to the 7th level of Ningyuan. As is well known, the golden cultivation period for martial artists is only a few decades. If you miss this golden period, your cultivation speed will be greatly reduced. Once entering old age, cultivation completely stagnates in growth. Ye Tianlong is over 70, but he can still break through his accomplishments. This really shocked him. Jiang Dahai, weren't you very arrogant just now? Why don't you dare to go up now? Didn't you say you wanted to declare war on our Ye family? If you have the ability, come. At this moment, everyone in the Ye family is full of confidence. The breakthrough of top-level combat power means that the strength of the Ye family will be further enhanced. Master, you need to stay calm. Ye Tianlong is very powerful. If we go to war with the Ye family, the best outcome would probably be mutual defeat. Elder's words make sense. Anyway, we still have the support of the Shao family. As long as the Shao family sends anyone, they can easily destroy the Ye family. We don't need to rush for a moment. The elders of the Jiang family all urged Jiang Dahai one after another. They all know very well that although there is only one difference between the 7th and 6th weights of Ningyuan, there is a huge difference. Each great realm of a warrior can be divided into 3 stages based on the limits of their strength. 1 to 3 layers are of lower order. 4 to 6 levels are intermediate. 7 to 9 levels are of higher order. Jiang Dahai is a mid-level Ningyuan realm warrior with 6 levels of condensed elements. Ye Tian, on the other hand, is a high-level martial artist in the realm of Ningyuan. The gap between middle and high levels, although not as great as the gap between great realms, is also difficult to overcome. Hear the words of the elders. Jiang Dahai's heart also began to beat the drums of retreat. He is also well aware that without Ye Tian, the Jiang family would be more stable than the Ye family. If there were Ye Tian, the chances of the Jiang family winning would never exceed 30%. But how can I just forget about my daughter being beaten? Jiang Dahai said unwillingly. For him, what happened today is a great shame. Nowadays, so many onlookers are watching him on sight. If he just gives up easily, where should his old face be? Chapter 5. Challenge. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After hesitating for a moment, Jiang Dahai seemed to have thought of something. He immediately said to the members of the Ye family, "Today, Ye Yun attacked my daughter. This matter cannot just be settled like this. However, this is a matter between their younger generations, there's no need to make the 2 families fight fiercely. Let their younger generation solve it on their own." After Jiang Dahai finished speaking, he turned back and looked at a younger generation of the Jiang family. That is a short-haired young man with sly eyes and mischievous eyebrows. He is Jiang Bitao, the son of the 5 elders of the Jiang family. Jiang Bitao understood and understood. He immediately stood up and shouted arrogantly to Ye Yun, now I challenge you. If you defeat me, let's forget about today's matter. But if you defeat me, then kneel down and kowtow to the Biao tribe girl to plead guilty. Do you dare to accept my challenge? Upon hearing Jiang Bitao's words, the onlookers were all discussing. Master Jiang really knows how to arrange for Jiang Bitao to deal with Ye Yun. Isn't this a ground beating? What kind of challenge is this? It's clearly bullying people, isn't it? I don't know if Ye Yun will agree. Everyone looked at Ye Yun with anticipation in their eyes. The Xia kingdom is a kingdom that advocates martial arts. In the Xia kingdom, who dares not accept being challenged will be laughed at by everyone. I can't lift my head for a lifetime. So, they all want to know, how would Ye Yun choose? Is it acceptance or rejection? Before Ye Yun could answer, Ye Wuya stood up and said, 3 years ago, Yun'er was injured to the foundation by a monster to save Jiang Biao. Not only has he fallen back in cultivation, but his cultivation speed is also not as fast as before. Now, he can only achieve the 6th level of physical cultivation. At this point, Ye Wuya looked at Jiang Bitao and said, but you have the cultivation of 8 levels of body refining. Do you think it's fair to practice 8 levels of body refining and 6 levels of body refining? Jiang Bitao sneered and said, of course it's fair. We're of the same age. Since everyone is 18 years old, I can cultivate up to 8 levels of body cultivation, but he only has 6 levels of body cultivation. Can I be blamed for this? He can only blame himself for being useless. Who made him stand still for 3 years without making any progress? You. Ye Wuya was so angry that her eyes were filled with smoke. Why did Ye Yun become like this? It's not because it saved Jiang Biao. If it weren't for saving Jiang Biao, he would have already entered the realm of Ningyuan. Who else could get Jiang Bitao to mock? And even if Ye Yun damages his foundation, his cultivation speed is not as fast as before. But as long as he has sufficient resources, he won't make no progress for 3 years. At least it can be elevated to the 7th level of body refining. It is precisely because of Jiang Biao's constant demands that he has been standing still for 3 years. And now, Jiang Bitao kept saying that it was only Ye Yun's fault for being useless. This sentence, like a knife, deeply penetrated into Ye Wuya's heart. Make him both heartbroken and angry. What? I can't accept it. Jiang Bitao continued to mock, are you asking us to find someone younger than him to fight him? Why don't we let our Duong come out and fight him? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. After Jiang Bitao finished speaking, the Jiang family burst into laughter. The Duong mentioned by Jiang Bitao is the great-grandson of the Jiang family. 1 generation later than him. A baby who has just reached full moon. Jiang Bitao moved Duong out intentionally to humiliate Ye Yun. You don't have to provoke me. Ye Yun said coldly, since you want to die, then I will fulfill you. Yunner. Ye Wuya trembled all over and looked at Ye Yun in shock, nonsense. How could you agree to such a dangerous thing? Ye Yun looked at Ye Wuya and said confidently, Dad, don't worry, my child is confident. The other party has 8 levels of cultivation in body refining. It's not something that Jiang Biao can compare to. How could you be confident in dealing with him? Ye Wuya said anxiously. Although Jiang Biao has some beauty, her cultivation talent is average. In addition, the Jiang family values men over women, and their cultivation resources are only given to men and not to women. So Jiang Biao's cultivation level is only at the level of cultivating 4 levels of body. Ye Yun can crush Jiang Biao on the ground and beat her. But if you were to confront Jiang Bitao, who is refining his body 8 times, you would only be beaten on the ground. Not only does Ye Wuya think so. Everyone in the Ye family thinks the same. Yeah, nephew Yun Xian, your father is right. Every time a martial artist in the refining realm increases by 1 level, their strength doubles. His strength is at least 4 times that of yours. What are you fighting him with? You don't even have to agree to compete with him, because with the presence of the Supreme Elder today, they dare not go to war with us. For a while, everyone in the Ye family urged Ye Yun not to agree to the martial arts competition. Ye Yun was deeply moved by this. Thank you all for your concern. Ye Yun clenched his fists at the elders of the Ye family. Then, he said in a serious tone, Uncle Clan, please rest assured that I have full confidence. Ye Wuya was still very worried. Yunner, are you really confident in dealing with him? Don't try to show off for the sake of face. Have Ye Yun looked at Ye Wuya and nodded heavily. Subsequently, he assured Ye Wuya by patting his chest, Dad, please trust the child once. I assure you, there won't be anything wrong. Say it. Ye Yun ignored dissuasion and turned around alone to face Jiang Bitao. At the moment of seeing Jiang Bitao, various unpleasant memories flooded into my heart. Ye Yun, weren't you very powerful before? Now you're just taking a punch from me, why did you just lie down? Ha ha ha, you're such a waste. Anyway, your cultivation speed is also so slow, so don't waste cultivation resources anymore. Give me all the resources. The scenes of being bullied by Jiang Bitao were replayed in Ye Yun's mind like lanterns. Jiang Bitao is the elder brother of the Jiang Biao tribe. Ye Yun treats him as if he were his own brother. In the past few years, there was no shortage of support for him. He and Ye Yun were also brothers. But who knows? After Ye Yunxiu retreated, his attitude towards Ye Yun underwent a 180-degree transformation. Praise turns into ridicule. Flattery turns into humiliation. He often beats Ye Yun in the name of sparring, leaving him covered in bruises and bruises. Even snatching the cultivation resources from Ye Yun. And the reason why he repays kindness with revenge. Just because of jealousy towards Ye Yun's former talent. This shameless villain who repays kindness with revenge, just like Jiang Biao, deserves to die. Even if he doesn't take the initiative to send him to death, Ye Yun will eventually settle accounts with him. Jiang Bitao sneered and said, let's talk about it first. Fists and feet have no eyes, and swords are merciless. In a battle, life and death are arrogant, and no matter what happens, it has nothing to do with others. Upon hearing Jiang Bitao's words, everyone in the Ye family became even more worried. The meaning of his words is clearly that he wants to kill Ye Yun in pain during the competition. Chapter 6. No longer your brother. In law. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. After Jiang Bitao finished speaking, a crisp sound of horse hooves suddenly sounded in the distance. Everyone turned their heads in response to the sound. I saw a snow-white steed rushing towards the Ye family mansion. Riding on the back of a snow-white steed, there was a girl dressed in a white floral dress, seemingly 14 or 15 years old. She did not apply any rouge powder. But that naturally beautiful face is still as white as jade. Not only beautiful, but also pure. Although it carries a hint of immaturity, it is already standing tall and graceful. This pure and beautiful girl seems to be experiencing sad things. Crying bitterly, unable to speak. Bishue. The Jiang family was stunned when they saw the flower skirt girl. Ye Yun was also stunned. This flower dress girl is none other than Jiang Biao's sister. Jiang Bishue. Unlike Jiang Biao, who has average talent, Jiang Bishue has extremely high cultivation talents. Even taller than Jiang Biki and the former Ye Yun. However, because the Jiang family values men over women, there is no plan to cultivate her. So she was not given any cultivation resources. But even so, she can also cultivate to the 9th level of physical cultivation alone with only talent and effort. It is precisely because of her good talent that she was favored by the Zhongzhou Martial Mansion and entered the Zhongzhou Martial Mansion for cultivation. How could she suddenly return to Luoyang City and appear here, who was supposed to be in the Wufu of Zhongzhou? Jiang Bishue, on horseback, saw Ye Yun's figure in the crowd at a glance. At the sight of Ye Yun, who was crying bitterly, she immediately widened her eyes in surprise. Brother-in-law. Jiang Bishue cried and stopped in front of Ye Yun, then jumped off the horse's back. Then he threw himself directly into Ye Yun's arms and hugged him tightly. Then she burst into tears and said, Brother-in-law. Is it really you? It's great that you didn't die. Woo-woo. Why did you come? Ye Yun asked Jiang Bishue gently. Although Jiang Bishue is Jiang Biao's younger sister, Ye Yun has no ill feelings towards her. On the contrary, there is still a sense of familiarity. Unlike Jiang Biao, who distorts her values and is ungrateful. She is a kind-hearted girl who knows how to repay kindness. Ye Yun's dedication to Jiang Biao was seen in her eyes and remembered in her heart. She is both grateful and guilty towards Ye Yun. In her mind, she had already regarded Ye Yun as her family. Jiang Bishue sobbed and said, after hearing the news that you were executed by the Lin family, I immediately rushed back from Zhongzhou. I was so worried and scared all the way. I thought I would never see you again in my life. It's okay, I'm still fine. Ye Yun gently patted Jiang Bishue's shoulder and comforted her with a gentle tone. Looking at the girl in front of him, his heart was both warm and moved. Initially, in order to save Jiang Biao, he was severely injured by a monster. As she was on the brink of death, Jiang Biao ignored her. It's the girl in front of me. Take care of him day and night until he fully recovers. When Jiang Bitao bullied him, Jiang Biao remained indifferent. She will only retrieve the resources that Jiang Bitao took from him afterwards. Then take it to Jiang Biki. It's the girl in front of me. Vehemently blocking in front of him and protecting him at all costs. Jiang Bishue's kindness to Ye Yun is also remembered in Ye Yun's heart. So, no matter how excessive Jiang Biao may be, Ye Yun has no prejudice against Jiang Bishue. Jiang Biao is Jiang Biao. Jiang Bishue is Jiang Bishue. In Ye Yun's heart, they are different people. Brother-in-law, let me take a look at your body. Is there anything really wrong with you? Jiang Bishue immediately released Ye Yun. She nervously scrutinized Ye Yun and examined his physical condition. After confirming that Ye Yun was safe and sound, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. Then he said earnestly, "Brother-in-law, why are you so foolish? There's no need to take such a black pot for my sister's sake. If something really happens to you, uncle would be so sad and upset." Jiang Bishue knew very well in her heart what kind of person Ye Yun was. Although she remained aloof from beginning to end. But she can be certain that it is definitely not Ye Yun who has tarnished the daughter of the Lin family. With Ye Yun's upright character and loyalty to Jiang Biao, it is impossible for him to do such a thing. On the contrary, her brother Jiang Biki spends his days indulging in extravagance, indulging in food, drink, prostitution, and gambling everywhere. It is only reasonable to tarnish the daughter of the Lin family. And as the elder sister, Jiang Biao also favors Jiang Biki in every way possible. So, there is only one truth. That's Jiang Biki committing a crime. Jiang Biao asked Ye Yun to take the blame. "Bishue, thank you for your trust," Ye Yun smiled contentedly. "In the entire city of Luoyang, except for his family, I'm afraid. Only Jiang Bishue is there, I believe he is innocent." "Bishue. What are you doing? Come over now." Suddenly, the stern roar of Jiang Dahai rang out. Jiang Bishue woke up in shock and quickly followed the sound to look back. "I saw all the members of the Jiang family standing in the distance with gloomy faces, staring at her with dissatisfied eyes. And among them, Jiang Biao's whole face turned green. Seeing Jiang Biao's expression, Jiang Bishue immediately realized that she had lost some composure just now. "Just now, I thought of myself hugging my brother-in-law in front of my sister." She felt a bit embarrassed and her face turned red with embarrassment. She could only shift the topic and ask Jiang Dahai, "Dad, why are you all here?" Just now, because she was too sad, she only thought about Ye Yun's life and death in her heart. So much so that when she arrived at the scene, she only saw Ye Yun in her eyes. "I didn't notice anyone else." It wasn't until now that she noticed. Surprisingly, all the elders of the Jiang family are here. What's going on here? Hurry up! Jiang Dahai shouted angrily. Hurry forward and drag Jiang Bishue back. He's no longer your brother-in-law. Don't call him that way again in the future. Jiang Dahai scolded Jiang Bishue. What? Jiang Bishue was momentarily taken aback, then looked at Jiang Biao and said, "Sister, what's going on with you and your brother-in-law?" Jiang Biao looked coldly at Ye Yun and said, "He has completely changed. He is no longer the same person as before. I have severed ties with him." "Sister, you." Jiang Bishue felt a little indignant. She knew very well that Ye Yun's contribution to her sister was still unclear in her lifetime. How can we say such words as severing ties? Bai Shui. Ye Yun looked at Jiang Bishue and said in a serious tone, "Your sister is right. I used to be dead. I am no longer the same person as I used to be. From now on, I will no longer be your brother-in-law, and you will never call me brother-in-law again." "Brother-in-law!" Jiang Bishue instinctively shouted. Ye Yun immediately interrupted, "Bishue, I can recognize you as my younger sister, but I will never be your brother-in-law again. My relationship with her has completely come to an end. There is no more friendship between me and her." What else does Jiang Bishue want to persuade? But I haven't waited for her to speak yet. Jiang Bitao stood up and said, "Miss Bishue, haven't you noticed yet? The injury on your sister's face was caused by that beast. He not only hit your sister, but also wanted to kill her. If it weren't for your father arriving in time, your sister would probably have died in his hands." Our purpose of coming here today is to seek justice for your sister. Upon hearing Jiang Bitao's words, Jiang Bishue's face was full of disbelief. In her impression, Ye Yun tolerated her sister in every way possible. How could he be willing to hit her sister? Unless it was her sister who did something unforgivable. Ye Yun, stop talking nonsense. Since you have agreed, let's start quickly. Jiang Bitao urged eagerly, fearing that Ye Yun would turn back later. Say it. Jiang Bitao drew his long sword. Sword pointed straight at Ye Yun. Chapter 7. Dealing with him, copper coins are enough. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What are you doing? Jiang Bishue immediately asked. Jiang Bitao said coldly, is that still worth mentioning? Of course it's a lesson for that kid, to seek justice for your sister. Don't. Jiang Bishue blocked Jiang Bitao from attacking Ye Yun. She knows Jiang Bitao's nature well and will never show mercy to Ye Yun. Damn girl. Jiang Dehai pulled Jiang Bishue back. Then he angrily rebuked her and said, you're such a picky eater. Why do your elbows keep turning outward? Your sister has been beaten up like this, how dare you still protect that kid? Jiang Bishue pleaded for Ye Yun and said, Dad. For the sake of my brother. Law's past kindness to my sister, please spare my brother. Law. Shut up. How dare you call him brother. Law. Jiang Dehai shouted angrily, his veins bulging on his forehead. Seeing Jiang Dehai's resolute attitude, Jiang Bishue can only change her goal. She pleaded with Jiang Biao, sister. You also have a word to say. My brother. Law has sacrificed everything for you. Whether it's cultivation resources or anything else, he gives you everything you want without reservation. For the sake of how much my brother. Law has given you, why don't you advise my father to let him go? Upon hearing Jiang Bishue's words, Jiang Biao remained completely indifferent. Jiang Bishue continued to plead, sister, have you forgotten? 3 years ago, you were attacked by a monster while playing outside. It was your brother. Law who risked his life to rescue you from the monster's mouth. For this, he went through a narrow escape and almost died in the underworld. To this day, he has been stuck in the 6th level of physical cultivation because he has injured his foundation. Don't you really remember his past efforts to you? He can even give up his life to save you. Aren't you touched at all? Don't you feel any guilt at all? Jiang Biao sneered and said disapprovingly, I admit that he has given a lot for me and even risked his life to save me. But that was all voluntary, I didn't force him. So he hurt his foundation and has nothing to do with me. Why do I feel guilty? I won't forgive his behavior towards me today just because of his past kindness. He hit me today. He must be able to apologize to the death in order to relieve the hatred in my heart. Upon hearing Jiang Biao's words, everyone in the Ye family trembled with anger. Even the onlookers felt disgusted by Jiang Biao. Jiang Bishue shook her head in disappointment and her tone suddenly became indifferent. Sister, you are so cruel. The more my brother. Law gives you, the more you take it for granted. But you never thought that he never owed you anything. Bishue, there's no need to say anything more, and there's no need to plead for me, Ye Yun said to Jiang Bishue. Say it. He looked at Jiang Bitao with full confidence and said, now, he is no longer my opponent. I'm not your opponent. Jiang Bitao laughed heartily. It's like hearing some funny joke. The Jiang family all sneered along. Their gaze towards Ye Yun was filled with contempt and disdain. Even the onlookers were jokingly watching Ye Yun. They all want to know who gave Ye Yun the confidence. One move. Jiang Bitao extended a finger and confidently assured, I'll only use one move to deal with this kind of trash. Stop talking nonsense, come on. Ye Yun stood still and said calmly. His current body, although only achieved 6 levels of cultivation through body refining. But with the combat experience of previous lives, it is also enough to make up for the gap in strength and defeat any opponent under the Ningyuan realm. Jiang Bitao sneered at Ye Yun and said, "Show your weapons. Yun'er, use your father's sword." Ye Wuya raised the sword in his hand. "Dad, no need." Ye Yun waved his hand first. Then he took out a copper coin from his pocket. "Clamp it with your index and middle fingers." "What do you mean?" Jiang Bitao asked in confusion. Ye Yun looked at the copper coin between his fingers and casually said, "This is my weapon." Everyone was completely stunned upon hearing this. Using a copper coin as a weapon. Is Ye Yun crazy? I think he must be crazy. Otherwise, how could he do such a crazy thing? He's completely seeking his own death. For a while, everyone on site was mocking and mocking. They all feel that Ye Yun is crazy. 6 levels of body refining versus 8 levels of body refining, how dare you dare to be so arrogant? I don't even plan to use weapons. Just use a copper coin as a weapon. This is not crazy, what is it? Even the members of the Ye family feel that Ye Yun's approach is too crazy. Ye Wuya asked anxiously, "Yun'er, are you really okay with just using a copper coin?" "Dad, believe in children." Ye Yun turned to look at Ye Wuya and smiled confidently at her, saying, "Dealing with him, copper coins are enough." Hear Ye Yun's words. Jiang Bitao's face became extremely gloomy. He felt like he was being humiliated like never before. "Ye Yun, how dare you humiliate me like this? I want you to pay the price." Jiang Bitao let out a furious shout and then wielded his sword to kill Ye Yun. "No!" Jiang Bishue shouted. "She wants to rush up and stop." But before he could take action, he was caught by Jiang Dahai. "Watch her for me." Jiang Dahai threw Jiang Bishue to the 2 elders of the Jiang family. The 2 elders in the Ningyuan realm immediately captured Jiang Bishue to death. Make her unable to move at all. "Dad!" Ye Wuya shouted to Ye Tianlong. "I know." Ye Tianlong nodded. He has tightened his nerves and is ready to rescue Ye Yun at all times. Amidst the tense gazes of the crowd, Jiang Bitao quickly rushed towards Ye Yun. And the sword he stabbed was also aimed directly at Ye Yun's heart. Be decisive and ruthless. The sword strikes straight at the key point. It's obvious. It came for Ye Yun's life. At that moment, the Jiang family seemed to have seen the scene of Ye Yun being pierced by a sword. The members of the Ye family and the onlookers were all sweating for Ye Yun. However, as the party involved, Ye Yun stood calmly in place. There is no intention of dodging or defending at all. I didn't even blink my eyelids. It's like you can't even see Jiang Bitao. Chapter 8. One move quickly kill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Until Jiang Bitao's attack was within reach, Ye Yun just made a simple move. Throw the copper coin forward lightly. Phew, accompanied by a sharp sound of breaking through the air. Copper coins flew out of Ye Yun's fingers in an instant. Transformed into a fleeting stream of light. Just for a moment. He plunged into Jiang Bitao's throat. Jiang Bitao's pupils contracted sharply. His movements also froze in an instant. The whole person froze in place like petrification. And the blade he thrust also stopped at a distance of less than half a foot from Ye Yun's chest. Next second, a bright red blood gushed out from Jiang Bitao's throat, staining his entire chest red. And his stiff body, with his pen tilted backwards, fell to the ground. The air on site suddenly quieted down. Everyone was stunned and shocked as they watched everything. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Bitao. Jiang Bitao's father, Jiang Dawei, was the first to react. He hurried forward to check on Jiang Bitao's situation. Other members of the Jiang family also followed closely and gathered around to check the situation. Jiang Bishue, on the other hand, stood motionless in place. For a moment, I was at a loss. She never expected that Ye Yun would be able to counter-kill Jiang Bitao. I never expected that Ye Yun would be so decisive. I'm not mistaken, right? Jiang Bitao just died like this. The cultivation of 8 levels of body refining was instantly killed with just one move. Surprisingly, only 1 copper coin was needed. When did Ye Yun become so strong? At this moment. The onlookers were all amazed. The tone was full of disbelief. At the moment when Jiang Bitao made a move, they thought Ye Yun couldn't escape death. But they never expected that the result would be so unexpected. While everyone was amazed, Ye Yun's eyes were filled with excitement. Because after he killed Jiang Bitao, the demonic crystals in his body plundered Jiang Bitao's vitality completely. Afterwards, the demon god crystal transforms those elemental energies into cultivation and transmits them to him. Let his cultivation level directly increase from the 6th level of body cultivation to the 7th level of body cultivation. Feeling the improvement in cultivation, Ye Yun was extremely excited in his heart. It seems that the legend is true. The master of the demon god crystal can improve his cultivation through killing. Having such a divine being, he's going back to his peak, it's just a matter of time. One day, he will return to the heavenly realm, blood-wash the cloud temple, and wield the blade of the Leaf Heavenly Emperor. I'm already out of breath. After a preliminary assessment, an elder came to the conclusion. Hearing this shocking result, everyone in the Jiang family took a deep breath. The members of the Ye family and the onlookers looked at Ye Yun with admiration on their faces. One move. Just one move. Jiang Bitao, who refined his body 8 times, was instantly killed by Ye Yun. And it's just a copper coin. When Ye Yun said that copper coins were his weapon, everyone thought that Ye Yun was joking. Because they couldn't imagine how an inconspicuous copper coin could have such a strong killing power. This completely subverts their cognition. Ye Yun. Jiang Dawei stared at Ye Yun with cracked eyes. I really wish I could cut Ye Yun to pieces. Give me back my life. I'm going to kill you. After a hysterical roar, he lost his sanity and rushed towards Ye Yun. Upon seeing this, Ye Tian quickly took a step forward and stood in front of Ye Yun. And the other elders of the Jiang family all took action to stop Jiang Dawei. Old 5, don't be impulsive. With the old man Ye Tianlong around, going up alone is like dying. The elders of the Jiang family persuaded one after another. They are all very clear in their hearts. Today, with Ye Tianlong present, if the 2 major families go to war, the Jiang family will definitely suffer. It's not their son who died, they don't want to go all out. Ye family, how can we settle this account when your people kill the younger generation of the Jiang family? Jiang Dahai said coldly. He also dared not go up, so he could only engage in verbal altercations. Ye Tianlong sneered and said, fists and feet have no eyes, and swords are merciless. In a battle, he is arrogant about life and death. No matter what happens, it has nothing to do with others. This is a rule he has set himself. Now that he has died in my family's hands, how can we blame my family's Yuner? If you want to blame him, you can only blame him for his incompetence. You. Jiang Dawei was so angry that he couldn't speak and could only use trembling fingers to point at Ye Tianlong. Ye Tianlong continued, besides, he was the one who first killed my Yuner. If my family Yuner doesn't kill him, we'll have to wait for him to kill us. May I ask if someone wants to kill you? If you don't fight back, will you still be slaughtered? Ye Tianlong's words left the Jiang family speechless. Jiang Dawei couldn't help but turn his unwilling gaze onto Jiang Dahai. It's obvious. He wants Jiang Dahai to seek justice for his son. Jiang Dahai pondered for a moment, then turned around and looked behind him. His gaze fell on a young man. That is a young man over 20, carrying a long sword. He has a tough face, sharp eyes, flowing long hair, and an extraordinary demeanor. Jiang Dahai looked at the young man with long hair and said, "Biqing, go and seek justice for Bitao." Yes. The young man with long hair nodded. Subsequently, he stood up and said to Ye Yun, let me compete with you again. Do you dare to fight me fairly? See this young man with long hair. The faces of all the members of the Ye family became extremely solemn. Because this young man is not someone else. He is the most talented genius among the younger generation of the Jiang family. Jiang Biqing. Jiang Biqing is only 20 years old now and has reached the peak of 9 levels of physical cultivation. Only half a step away from the Ningyuan realm. Far from being comparable to Jiang Bitao. How much does Master Jiang want to get rid of Ye Yun by letting the first person from the younger generation of the Jiang family take action? It seems that Ye Yun will not agree again this time. After all, the gap in strength between the two sides is too big. Yeah. If Ye Yun agrees to this challenge, doesn't that mean he's looking for death? For a while, everyone is discussing it one after another. They no longer expect Ye Yun's choice. Because in their view, as long as Ye Yun's mind is not flooded, he will never accept the challenge. After all, life is the most important thing. Ye Yun killed the younger generation of the Jiang family. Jiang Biqing will definitely not show mercy. So, as long as Ye Yun accepts the challenge, he will definitely die at the hands of Jiang Biqing. There is no doubt about this. No one would doubt Jiang Biqing's strength. Dad, are you willing to take your brother-in-law's life? Jiang Bishue asked Jiang Dahai. She now understands. Jiang Dahai wants Ye Yun's life. Otherwise, Jiang Biqing will never take action. Jiang Dahai ignored Jiang Bishue and instead urged Ye Yun, if it's a man, don't back down. What did Ye Yun just want to say? Ye Wuya stood up and stood in front of him, saying, when Jiang Bitao challenged me Yuner just now, didn't they all agree? As long as Yuner wins, let's forget about today's matter. What's going on? Are you still planning to continue the competition? Is this a matter of not keeping your word? Jiang Dahai said coldly, let's call it a day, referring to the incident where Ye Yun hit my daughter. Now, Biqing is challenging Ye Yun to solve the murder of Bitao. Ye Wuya sneered and said, even if we continue to compete, you still need to send someone who is equally matched. Jiang Biqing not only has a cultivation level higher than my Yuner, but also is 2 years older than my Yuner. Do you think it's really fair to have him compete with me, Yuner? Jiang Dahai said, they are all junior members of the clan, why is this unfair? What else does Ye Wuya want to say? Ye Yun stood up and waved his hand, saying, it's okay. Since they still want to compete, then I can accompany them to compete. Chapter 9, I'll give you 30 moves first. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hear Ye Yun's words. The onlookers couldn't help but gasp for breath. They all thought that Ye Yun would find reasons to refuse. But they didn't expect that Ye Yun would agree. Young people nowadays are so impulsive. For the sake of so-called face and dignity, I don't even want my own life. This behavior is too foolish. For a while, everyone looked at Ye Yun with regretful eyes. It's like watching a dying person. Some people think that Ye Yun is too impulsive. Some people think that Ye Yun is too foolish. Some people also admire Ye Yun's courage. But only no one is optimistic about Ye Yun. No one believes that Ye Yun can survive in the hands of Jiang Biqing. Yuner. After taking a deep breath, Ye Wuya said to Ye Yun, you're too impulsive. How could you agree to such a challenge? Jiang Biqing is the first among the younger generation of the Jiang family. He has a cultivation level of 9 peaks in body refining, which is not something you can deal with now. Dad, believe me. I'm confident. Ye Yunshin swore confidently. Ye Wuya said anxiously, you have a triple difference in cultivation. How can you have the confidence to deal with him? Ye Tianlong also followed suit and said, Yuner, listen to your father's words and don't act recklessly. We'll go back on our word for this competition. Yeah. Jiang Biqing's strength is not comparable to Jiang Bitao's. Don't think that if you win against Jiang Bitao, you can fight against Jiang Biqing. This is blind confidence. The members of the Ye family also persuaded one after another. Even if Ye Yun defeats Jiang Bitao with one move, he demonstrates strong enough strength. No one would think that Ye Yun is Jiang Biqing's opponent. After all, Jiang Biqing's strength is well known. He is the first among the younger generation of the Jiang family. Not only does it possess extremely high cultivation talents. At the same time, he also possesses extremely high talent in swordsmanship. It's a true sword cultivator. He hardly ever meets an enemy in the realm of Ningyuan. How could Ye Yunkai be his opponent when he only knows how to condense 6 elements? Dad, actually my child has already broken through to the 7th level of Ningyuan, Ye Yun confessed to Ye Wuya. Hear Ye Yun's words. Everyone immediately released their divine sense and explored Ye Yun's cultivation. They were surprised to find that Ye Yun's cultivation had truly broken through. It's been 3 years, finally breaking through. Breakthrough is good. Breakthrough is good. Ye Wuya's eyes were filled with relief. However, he still shook his head and said, even if you break through to the 7th level of body refining, I cannot let you take risks. This is really too dangerous. Dad, please trust the child again. I assure you once again that nothing will happen, just like before. Say it. Ye Yun turned around and faced Jiang Biqing. I admire your courage. Jiang Biqing raised her right hand and extended 3 fingers upwards. Subsequently, he sneered at Ye Yun and said, don't say I bully the small with the big, I'll give you 3 moves first. Is that fair? He is truly the first among the younger generation of my Jiang family, with magnanimity and courage. Jiang Dehai praised with satisfaction. And the onlookers on site also admired Jiang Biqing. In the duel between warriors, preemptive action is crucial. In situations of similar strength, if the opponent takes the lead, it is equivalent to losing the showdown. Not to mention, let's give the opponent 3 moves first. Jiang Biqing dares to give Ye Yun 3 moves first. This is enough to demonstrate that he has absolute confidence in his own strength. Is it just 3 moves? Ye Yun sneered. Hear Ye Yun's words. Everyone looked at Ye Yun with disdainful eyes. Others are willing to give him 3 moves first, which is already very generous. And yet he is not satisfied. Is it that he lacks confidence in his own strength? Since you lack confidence, why do you still have to accept the challenge? Why? You still don't think you have enough of the 3 moves? Jiang Biqing sneered, looking down on Ye Yun even more in her heart. 3 moves, are there many? Ye Yun sneered disdainfully and then raised his right hand. Extend 3 fingers upwards and say, 30 moves. As soon as this sentence is spoken, the whole venue fears silence. Everyone was stunned. I almost didn't pop my eyeballs out. Isn't Ye Yun too greedy? He wants someone else to give him 30 moves. I admire his courage to agree to Jiang Biqing's challenge, but I didn't expect him to be such a shameless person. At last, people could not help but complain about Ye Yun. It's not that they don't speak for Ye Yun. But it's the request put forward by Ye Yun, it's really too much. Jiang Biqing said discontentedly, Ye Yun, don't take any advantage. Give you 3 moves, I have already exhausted my kindness and righteousness. If I give you 30 moves, what else should I compare to you? It's better to just give up. Before Jiang Biqing could finish speaking, she was choked directly. Because Ye Yun spoke up, "What I mean is, I'll give you 30 moves first." As soon as these words were spoken, the whole room fell silent. Everyone was stunned and looked at Ye Yun with shocked faces. It's like hearing the most incredible thing in this world. They simply doubted their ears. Even Jiang Biqing suspected that she had heard wrong. He quickly confirmed, "What did you just say?" Ye Yunfeng said lightly, "Don't you understand? Let me tell you, I'll give you 30 moves first. If you touch me within 30 moves, I'll lose." Everyone couldn't help but gasp for breath upon hearing these words. They looked at Ye Yun as if they were looking at an idiot. Who is Jiang Biqing? He is the first among the younger generation of the Jiang family. It's not an exaggeration to say that there are no enemies under the Ningyuan realm. Even the experts in the Ningyuan realm dare not give him 30 moves first. And now, Ye Yun, who has just been elevated to the 7th level of body refining, surprisingly boasting that he would be given 30 moves first. And the tone is still so light and gentle. It's like, let Jiang Biqing do 30 moves first, it's just a trivial matter. What kind of confidence is this? What kind of arrogance is this? What kind of arrogance is this? It's so arrogant. Everyone couldn't figure it out. Where did Ye Yun's mesmerizing confidence come from? At this moment, Jiang Biqing's entire face turned red into a pig liver color. It's like being slapped hard by someone. That is exactly his behavior after becoming angry and embarrassed. Ye Yun said he wanted 30 moves, which is blatantly humiliating him. How dare you humiliate me like this? I will shatter your body into pieces. Jiang Biqing drew his long sword from behind, and his voice completely cooled down. At this moment, he really has a murderous heart. He's going to kill Ye Yun. No one can stop me. Everyone in the Ye family is worried about Ye Yun. Ye Yun completely angered Jiang Biqing. How could Jiang Biqing let Ye Yun go? Ye Wuya was even more anxious. But without cultivation, he can't do anything. All hope can only be placed on Ye Tianlong. At this time, Ye Tianlong had already stimulated his whole body's vitality. He had already tightened his nerves all over his body, like a cheetah poised for action. Always be prepared to rush out to rescue Ye Yun. And the distant river and sea are always ready to take action. He will spare no effort to stop Ye Tianlong from rescuing Ye Yun. Today, Ye Yun must die. Chapter 10. 30 moves have passed, you can die now. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Die. Jiang Biqing snorted coldly and wielded her sword to kill Ye Yun. Just in the blink of an eye. He crossed a distance of more than 10 meters and killed Ye Yun in front of him. A sharp sword light rushed towards Ye Yun. Sharp angles. Be decisive and ruthless. The sword strikes straight at the key point. It's obvious. He wants to kill Ye Yun with one blow and completely end his life. At that moment, in the hearts of the Jiang family, Ye Yun has already been sentenced to death. Their gaze towards Ye Yun was icy. It's like looking at a cold corpse. And the members of the Ye family and the onlookers all breathed a sigh of relief for Ye Yunping. Ye Wuya and Jiang Bishue both raised their hearts to their throats. However, as the party involved, Ye Yun stood still as if nothing had happened. Not only did he not dodge or defend, but he also simply closed his eyes. Seeing this scene, everyone thought that Ye Yun couldn't dodge, so they had to desperately close their eyes. And at this moment, Ye Tianlong has already taken a step forward. He's going to take action to save Ye Yun. Okay. Just as Jiang Biqing's sword was about to hit Ye Yun, Ye Yun suddenly opened his eyes fiercely. His pupils instantly turned purple. In that moment, the world in his eyes completely slowed down. The sword blade pierced by Jiang Biqing. And all the people and things present. It's like being slowed down countless times. Every millimeter of movement feels like 1 meter. This is exactly the divine consciousness ability that Ye Yun practiced in his past life. Jitong. Extreme pupil surgery is a type of gain pupil surgery that allows for a distant view of thousands of miles and minimal myopia. This type of pupil technique can greatly enhance insight, allowing warriors to see rapidly moving and small objects clearly. Slow. It's too slow. Ye Yun stood still in place without moving a step. The upper body is just a casual deviation. It's easy to avoid Jiang Biqing's sword. What? As soon as Ye Tian took a step, his movements froze instantly. Jiang Biqing's movements also froze, and a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. He clearly had no idea that Ye Yun could avoid his attack. However, his reaction is quick. Without any hesitation, he swung his sword again and slashed at Ye Yun. In Jiang Biqing's view, Ye Yun's ability to avoid his sword was purely luck. And next, his sword. More cunning and sharp. More decisive and ruthless. So, Ye Yun will never have such good luck again. He will definitely kill him on the spot. Okay. His confident sword was still easily avoided by Ye Yun. This time. He widened his eyes in shock, filled with disbelief. Everyone present was also stunned and their faces were full of disbelief. They couldn't believe it at all. Ye Yun avoided Jiang Biqing's attack again. If it was luck just now, what is it now? It can never be luck. Impossible. Jiang Biqing refused to accept reality and waved his long sword again. Launch a never-ending attack on Ye Yun. No matter how fierce Jiang Biqing's attack is, Ye Yun is just avoiding it blindly. There are no plans to fight back or parry at all. Every sword of Jiang Biqing seems to have almost hit Ye Yun. But they were all cleverly avoided by Ye Yun by a tiny margin at the critical moment. From beginning to end, I never touched a single strand of Ye Yun's hair. 3. 4. 5. While evading the attack, Ye Yun was also casually counting. That absent-minded attitude seemed to have completely ignored Jiang Biqing. Seeing this scene, everyone in the room was stunned. They could all see that Ye Yun's murmuring count was calculating the number of attacks by Jiang Biqing. It's obvious. Ye Yun really plans to use Jiang Biqing's 30 moves. Thinking of this, everyone couldn't help but gasp for breath. Without counterattacking or resisting, we must persist in 30 moves in Jiang Biqing's hands. Even a master of the condensing Yuan realm cannot achieve this. However, Ye Yun, who has just been promoted to the 7th level of body refining, is challenging something that even a master in the Ningyuan realm cannot achieve. Seeing Ye Yun so effortless, Ye Tian also backed away with peace of mind. There are no more plans to take action to save Ye Yun. Soon. 10 moves have already passed. Ye Yun was unscathed. Everyone on site couldn't help but mutter to themselves. Can persist in 10 moves in the hands of genius like Jiang Biqing. No matter what the result of this competition is, Ye Yun is already amazing. Everyone thought this was Ye Yun's limit. What surprised everyone was that this is just the beginning. 11. 12. 13. Ye Yun is still dodging Jiang Biqing's attack. And still able to dodge with ease. Still evading easily. Still evading with indifference. There is no sign of difficulty at all. In the blink of an eye. 20 moves have passed. Okay. Ye Yun still hasn't been hit once. Everyone looked incredulous. What kind of sensitive body technique is this to achieve such a thing? And the scariest thing is even though Ye Yun has dodged 20 attacks, he still appears effortless. Just like, dodging 20 more times is not a problem at all. Seeing Ye Yun so calm, Jiang Biqing began to lose her composure. His attack on Ye Yun went from being cunning and sharp at the beginning to becoming increasingly panicked. In the end, it completely turned into a stabbing frenzy. Until after 30 moves. He has never touched a single strand of Ye Yun's hair. Previously, in order to pretend to be coerced, he kept saying that he needed to use Ye Yun's 3 moves first. But now, it's completely the opposite, being given 30 moves by Ye Yun first. If you can't pretend to be a fool, instead become a fool. At this moment, everyone in the room was stunned, their eyes filled with disbelief. It's like seeing the most absurd thing in this world. Oh my goodness. Let Jiang Biqing do 30 moves. This Ye Yun has really done it. A warrior who has reached the pinnacle of the 9th level of physical training was actually given 30 moves by the warrior who has reached the 7th level of physical training. Am I really dreaming? How did he actually do it? It's really unbelievable. For a while, everyone is doubting life. What happened before their eyes is really outrageous. Completely overturned their cognition. Destroyed their previous worldview. Make them have to doubt life. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Jiang Biqing went completely crazy and swung her sword at Ye Yun, chopping wildly. He tried to break his mind but couldn't figure it out. Why did Ye Yun, who only refined his body and achieved 7 levels of cultivation, react so quickly? Even martial artists in the Ningyuan realm cannot react so quickly. 30 moves have passed, you can die. Ye Yun said coldly. In Luo. He quickly extended his right hand and used 2 fingers to grip the sword that had been chopped. Then, give it a hard break.